Welcome to another episode of the Physically Jacked and Financially Stacked podcast. Today, this is going to be a very exciting story with someone who's incredibly charismatic, driven, and is also, I didn't find this out yesterday, was a kickboxing champion. And that's Tops, who's come all the way over from Australia, came over for our Mastermind event yesterday. Now, why his story is so interesting, I remember jumping on a call with Tops, I think it was in start of December. He'd joined two masterminds, neither of them really had worked, was pretty much losing the will with what the fuck to do with the situation. And then a month later, he made $50,000. So this is the conversation we're going to have today. So thanks for coming on the podcast, Tops.
Thank you very much.
Now, to roll things back from where you began, where were you at when you first tried to start your online business?
Okay, so what I was doing, a bit of outreach, just trying to strike up conversations. They weren't really going anywhere. Everyone was used to me as a face-to-face, one-to-one trainer. So everything was kind of like, impersonalized and really personal. So everyone was used to me doing that for 20 odd years. And when I tried to make the move, no one wanted to hear about it. It was like, no, I want you for you. Because that's who you are. We pay for your service. We need you by the hour. People didn't believe it. And I didn't believe it, to be honest. I was very skeptical about the whole online thing because I'm thinking, how am I going to keep these people accountable? How am I going to make this work? Here's this, go and do it, So it was kind of I think there's a belief system in myself as well. And I believe that obviously, shines through and people can pick that up. But striking up conversations, stuff like that, they just generally weren't working.
And from that point of view, then you went into two other masterminds, I think, which were, I think they were both US based, you mentioned, and they were both trying to push paid ads, I believe.
Yeah, so they were both US based. They were pushing paid ads, but then there was some other stuff that was in between. There was a lot of fluff in between. There was kind of I found that, I don't want to discredit anyone, but I just found there was a lot of cotton wool in there, built up fluff, kind of just filling out the program. It's to justify why I'm giving you so much money. That's the way I felt with it.
And one thing I had a huge amount of credit for you is I remember we first spoke, we went round and round in circles in terms of you were hesitant because there's fucking another scam artist just going to try and do me over. And then I managed to push you over the line till you commit. But from that point onwards, you literally just fucking executed. Now, what do you put that down to?
So to direction, your team's direction. So in all honesty, I'm not a guy that beats around the bush. I'm very direct. And I found that with the past people I tried this with, and I spent a lot of money, I found that they weren't giving me exactly, I knew what I wanted. I had a great idea of what I wanted. And it was someone pushing me in that direction without all the noise and all the interference in between it. Whereas when I came on board with you and I told you what I wanted, you actually listened to what I wanted, you properly listened. And then you gave me what I needed to execute it in literally at the drop of a hat, no time at all.
And that's the same thing, obviously from your training background, it's people fucking overcomplicate shit. And it's reality is when it comes to building a business, generally you should never try and do more than 2-3 things at one time. And where people go wrong is they try and do fucking everything in one go and they get overwhelmed and nothing happens. And I think you see that in the fitness industry, people want to get in shape, they want to go to the latest gimmick and the latest gizmo that sounds great. Whereas in the reality, when we were talking about before the podcast began, the basics are what really get you results.
I totally agree. I find that both ways. That's the thing. It's everything I've done in life. If I can't do it, I try and source the best professional that I can for the job. And obviously there is a bit of trial and error until you come across the person that you gel with, the person that speaks your language. It's all about getting what you want in business. It's like any goal. You need to go straight direct to the goal. None of this zigzagging around. It's all time wasting. And that's what I found now with you. It's just you gave me that task. You said, okay, Top, this is your first task. See ya, bye. I went and executed. I came back, I went, hey, Charlie, this happened. Now what? Go and do that. And your team did the same thing. They just picked apart what I was doing, what's your onboarding? How's your welcome pack? What's happening here? What's happening there? And I just put everything into place. I went away. I did it. I came back. Here's your next task. And it's straight down the line. It's direct. It's what I needed to do to get me over the line. And that's what I wanted.
And that's how businesses evolve because you, at different stages of the business, you have different things to focus on. Because obviously you've got lead generation, sales, fulfillment. Because your business was crushing at the front end, you was doing really well. Obviously then you suddenly got to work on the systems on the back end to then suddenly handle all these clients you're signing up, which is a good problem to deal with. But nonetheless a problem. I think that's where people often then get stuck in that situation. I think that's where one of the things you've also been very forward thinking and open to like conversations about trying different things, where sometimes people are very like closed minded, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I like to kind of like respond if I see that something is, if I feel it's not going to work for me, or if it's something like, obviously you can't just try everything, because if you're not feeling it, it's hard to execute it. It's going to be a bit half-assed. So, but everything that you've guided me to do has been like on point. It's been perfect for me. And that's what I love about it. Like I can't fault it.
The exciting bit is we've only just started as well, so I think we're like 6 weeks in now. So like,
yeah,
where you're going to be at the end of 2023 is pretty exciting by next year as well. Now, if you could give yourself any advice from before you started your online coaching business, in hindsight, what would you do different? What would be the first things you look at in terms of building your business?
For online?
Yeah.
Come and see Charlie in 7. Simple. Like, this is it. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm doing this out of my own free will. And that's the game changer. I've done everything else. You know, I didn't know about you. I didn't know that you existed. You know what I mean? So when I found you, it was like a blessing. That was it. That was my thing. I got to experience. I could have wasted another 2-3 years with other people and got nowhere. But I found the right man. I found the professional. And that's my thing. Find someone who's at the top. Find someone who is a professional. Not someone who seems to be one, but someone who actually is. And like you said before, which other coach is in the trenches? And that's you. You know, you're doing it day in, day out. Other guys used to do it, and then they became business coaches or whatever, but not doing it anymore. So you're not up to date. Things change by the minute, you know, and that's where I appreciate where you're still doing it. And you can relay that feedback of what's happening at this moment.
And that's the strongest strength we have in terms of helping you, because we test stuff at massive scale and it's quick. So I know, like, okay, I posted a story today, this worked or it didn't work. Even like the strategy I taught yesterday at the Mastermind, we put up another post like that last night, got 100 leads straight away. So it's like, these things work because I actively know, because we do it every single day. And that's where I see a lot of people try and push a lot of shit that's bullshit and like doesn't work anymore. And that's where like we just keep things very simple. So I like the sayings like MVP is like a minimum viable process. It's like, what's the easiest way we can get clients, basically. And that's basically how we work up in terms of building a business, is working at like the basic levels first, which are the easiest, like low hanging fruit to knock off, and then you can start working up, right? It's like if you've got clients looking to lose weight, all you need to be in the beginning is get them to fucking move more and eat a bit less. You don't really need to overcomplicate it.
No.
And then as you start to progress, then you look at like training periodization, the form, like whatever, and it can then get more complex as you progress.
Absolutely. There's stages for everything, you know, and that's what I love about it. You taught me to focus on that one thing, which was the low hanging fruit. Focus on it, attack it from this angle. Let's see what you come up with.
Did you take any of your skills from obviously being successful on the one-to-one side of things and putting that into the online business? How have you found that helpful?
So yeah, I found that helpful. Obviously, with the expertise that I have in, you know, transforming people and, you know, being very goal-focused and driven and orientated, I found that it was easy to execute, because what I did with, obviously I'm still trying to figure out, and obviously you're going to help me with this, but how to do what I do now on a larger scale. Because at the moment, I make sure like the accountability is next level. Every one of my 20 clients, which I wanted to cap it at 20 because I didn't want to go overboard, because I didn't want to mess it up. So I wanted to nail those 20 clients first, then go to the next step. So with my accountability, what I've learned is that, okay, it's like having a food log or a food diary. I can't physically see your food diary. So one thing that I've found is I make sure that all 20 of my clients report to me at least 5 times a day. I want a photo on WhatsApp of every single meal before you consume it. I want you to track every single training. I want you to send me every single set, rep range, weight, frequency, send it. Because if you didn't send it, I send you a little pizza emoji, which means you're cheating. That's the way I look at it, because, you know, that's what it takes to get to the goal quick. You know, everyone can get to the goal, but it's about getting there as fast as possible. And that's what I'm always about, you know. I don't want you to repeat your grade. I want you to fly through.
And that's the point, right? And this is what I like talking about. It's like, same from a fitness or a business coach point of view. It's like, you got point A, you got point B, and your job as a coach is to bend that time and get them to the end result as quickly as possible. And then like the most efficient process as possible. And actually, an interesting thing I would say is like, I'm inherently actually quite a lazy person. So I like seek the easiest way to go from point A to point B.
100%.
Whereas most people try and go like fucking arse about face and try and overcomplicate stuff.
Fuck that.
Which is like it's literally basically what we've done with you.
Yeah.
Now, with your clients, is there anything else you've done to get them like great results, or even like pushing them into the program more? Because obviously you've had so many people come on so quickly. what did that look like, and what did the process look like for you onboarding those people? Like, and how specifically did you sign them up?
Oh, so it was pretty easy because people already have a trust with me. They know what I do. They've never been in the space for a very long time. So they initially have trust in me, which is a big thing. You have to kind of, be able to prove yourself. So that was one big factor that was out of the way. But as far as onboarding, it was very, very easy. All I needed to do was to know the goal, to know where they are now, to see the pictures where they're at the moment. Because a lot of these people I haven't seen it in quite a while. I used to train them previously, or they just follow me on Instagram or stuff like that. So I needed to see what they look like, basically. Because for me, I didn't care about the scale. I didn't care about the measuring tape. I care about the mirror. So you send me a photo, what you look like. Send me your stats, just your weight, stuff like that. Send me that, and that's all I needed. And I need to know your end result. Send me a picture of what you're going to look like. So that's all I need. So the onboarding process was really, really easy. I just go away, set up the program for them, send them a welcome package, and off we go. So I really narrowed it down to make it as simplified as possible.
100%. And what has been your main thing in terms of the social media content you've been putting out and things like that? I know you document a lot of even you training in-person clients. Have you found that's helped?
It's good because people sort of it activates people a bit when they see you training in-person clients. I don't train hardly any at the moment, but the ones that I do, I'll repost stuff like that. I don't like to post too much about my clients because I don't like to exploit anyone, people, so do their thing. But, when I do that, it obviously brings a good energy. So, they like that. They like seeing stuff like that. As well, when they see other people with the changes I've made in their life, obviously that brings more people to the table. And
you transitioning from the gym floor to going more online, would you have any advice for anyone looking to take those first steps? Because a lot of people are quite hesitant and they almost end up in a situation where they've got golden handcuffs. They're making good money in one-to-one training, but they don't maybe have the freedom to come to Dubai or do what they want.
Yeah, totally. So if anyone, or for me, for example, I was against online training. It wasn't even I don't know if I should go on there. It was just it's a space I do not believe in. So for me to take that step, it was massive. So my advice is, absolutely, take the step, because what I knew in my head is that I could help a lot more people and I can outreach to a lot more people than what I was doing currently. Because obviously my busy schedule, running the gyms, doing what I'm doing day to day, I'm limited in time that I can have. You come and do your hour session with me, half an hour, whatever you're having. You're there for that time period, then you're gone. But the accountability is amazing. At any point in time, they're there. You can chat to multiple people at once. I can run a conversation with 20 people at once if I want to. So that's the beauty of it, And for example, being able to have that impact and change people and so many people at once, that's a huge thing. Whereas you're only limited with time one-to-one, So that my advice is definitely take the leap. That's where it's all going. I didn't believe it. But my advice is to totally take that.
And it's very much breaking a limiting belief, because I think a lot of people have respectfully old school trainers don't want to accept the new world almost, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah. Anything new, obviously, for me is just bullshit. I'm just it's new, it's shit. It's old school, man. Old school works, yeah.
Come on to a different topic. Obviously, we had the Mastermind event yesterday. How did you find that?
I loved it. Honestly, I loved it. I've been to so many, even business coaching events, not just fitness business, but other business coaching events. And this one just blew it away. Every single speaker that was there was really, really good. Mind you, I knew none of them, besides Joseph. I only knew Joseph. The others I didn't know, and they were just wow, these guys are good. So I really, really like what they brought to the table. So a wealth of information, and I took so much back from it.
And that the key as well is putting yourself in those environments and putting yourself in rooms with other people who are doing what you want to do, succeeding at high levels. Opens your eyes and think, fuck. And also respectfully, you're a bit of an older guy, but you see guys who are 22 making Anton's there doing 75k a month. You're
brilliant.
Jesus Christ. And but that's inspirational for you. And it's
so good.
But it shows what can be done, and also how quickly people can progress, even looking at what you've done in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm hanging for that, honestly. I just like to make sure everything's down pat and I've got everything beautiful, I don't want anyone to walk around not satisfied.
What's the biggest thing you took from yesterday?
Oh, so many points, So wow, there's so much. It's just wow, abundance of information. I have to say, I really like one of the things that I picked up was be where your base is, be the client that you want to attract, be around those people, totally be around those people, gel with them, mold with them, You know, like your guy was saying, you know, if the people with money are at, you know, Emirates Mall, be at Emirates Mall. That's where you got to be. So, you know, you can take that and put it into so many scenarios. It's not just about being where the money is, but place yourself around the people you want to work with. So that was a big thing for me, you know, like I kind of do that already, but it's just like it made me kind of go deeper with that because I can use it in so many different ways.
I think also sometimes like we inherently know some of this stuff, but sometimes we need to be like reminded more than we need to be taught, if that makes sense.
Totally. Because we have an abundance of information coming into our brains daily. You can't remember everything. And then when you get something like that, a reminder, as you say, it kind of triggers something, it awakens it, and you're like, okay, I really need to, you know, go into that more and really execute that.
100%. To finish things up, Tops, one question for you would be, what would you say to anyone who's sitting on the fence about like asking for help to help them get to the next level?
No, you need to ask. You need to ask. I've always been a firm believer. Like, you need to ask for help. Do not hesitate. Don't try and do it yourself. Don't make the errors. You know, and thankfully, for whatever reason, my whole life, when I was like starting out, I had this thing where why would I try and copy, paste, learn from other people, watch people in the gym? No, I just went to the best guys in my gym, the guys that were like, wow, they were like gods in my gym. And they were all, where I was like very fortunate, everyone was specialized in my gym where I kind of learned my trade as such. You know, you had a strength and conditioning guy, you had a bodybuilding guy, you had a power guy, you had athletic guys. So we were so blessed like that. And back in that time, I was paying them stupid money. I went up to these guys and literally everything I was earning in that week was going to these guys to coach me the way they coach their clients. But in turn, they saw how passionate I was and they gave me so much more. So growing up with that kind of mindset, you know, from day one, it's a no-brainer. Find the professional, find the guy that's actually executing, that you can see visually with your eyes. You can see the guy's crushing it. Pay him to show you the way. There's no other way, honestly. You know, because if you ask, you only get so much. But when you're paying for someone's time, you know, especially a professional, and they see how passionate and driven you are, they're going to give you the world. Because I know I'm the same way. When I see a young kid growing up in the gym and I see he's got it and he wants it, bro, have it all. Everything I know. People like will pay me money for stuff, then you can have it because like you want it. And that's what's rare. So if you're thinking about it, take the step and ask for help. Don't hold back.
And that passion is infectious. It's like when I had the pleasure to work with someone like you, I get fucking excited and I'm smiling here because like, I want to go fucking work now because it's it's that thing, and there's nothing worse than having, you have energy vampires sometimes in life, and like those people I would just to steer away. But when you have the opportunity to work with someone great like yourself who's very driven, the possibility is endless of what they can achieve.
It sure is, because now you've got someone, for example, you've got me, I'm looking at you. It's not just like, it's personal now. Now I'm looking at you. It's like, okay, wait, this other guy, yeah, I'm older than you, but I'm still looking at you, yeah? It's like a younger guy looking at me, and I'm like, fuck, he's watching me, yeah? I've got to train hard today because he's in the gym. It's just mentality. It's like, man, I've got to be on my game. Doesn't matter how old I am. He's going to look up to me, and I've got to be killing it. So, which is so true in what you said, you know, it's that same mentality that's going to drive you further, and that drives me again. When I see you doing even better, I want to be even better. So it's kind of like just keeps going.
But that's even like the abundance thing that I want to like push people for, even like hence going on the boat last night. And obviously I know like you, me and Joseph had a cool photo together, and it's like so good. Having that environment and that like just breaking people's limiting beliefs is a huge thing. Yeah,
man, I thank you for that. That was really nice. Hey, that boat thing, you didn't have to do that.
No, it was just fun.
That was so good. Yeah, it was awesome.
Where's the best place to find more people find about you, Tops? Maybe your training or like your inspirational story.
So my story goes deep. My story is very, very big, but that's another whole podcast, literally. But you know, like obviously I'm on Instagram. That's my main sort of platform, and Facebook.
What's your IG username?
Tops Spasojev.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes because no one's gonna be able to do that. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for today. And if anyone's listening to this podcast, got a shit ton of inspiration, which when you were done, go and give Tops a follow. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. And then if you're looking to build your fitness business, make sure you message me the word scale in my Instagram, it's at Charlie Johnson Fitness, or the 7-Figure Scaling Systems page. We can discuss with you how we can help you get the success like Tops has had. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, dude. Thank you.